Prince Harry's coming back to the UK. According to palace aides, he cannot forgive his brother for what Harry's put the family through.
They called the whole of the royal family racist. They were vile about them. They're coming for totally self-interested reasons. Most of the family are going to say, stuff you, we don't want to talk to you. He's a truculent, petulant, spoiled child. And this is why a lot of the royals don't want him back, because
Hello and welcome to the Daily Espresso. I'm JJ Nisiobi, but more importantly, I'm reunited with my angel of the North, Carol Malone. Let's get started with William, because as we know, Prince Harry's coming back to the UK next month. Yeah. Very exciting, very exciting.
For you, maybe.
Well, according to palace aides, William is known to hold a grudge and he cannot forgive his brother for what Harry's put the family through.
Of course he can't. Of course he can't forgive him, and he never will either. You know, the thing is, people might have forgotten what Harry and Meghan said during that Oprah interview. They called the whole of the royal family racist. Remember, they said questions about this. They refused to say who would question who had said, what colour might the baby be. So suspicion fell on all of the royal family. So they were all branded racist. They were vile about them. And then the follow-up of the book Spare, where, Harry revealed details about Meghan's relationship with Kate. And of course, Meghan came out the superhero, Kate came out the nasty person. And the same with Will, intimate details about their lives together. And so, yes, of course, he's never going to forgive him. And I don't blame him either. Prince Charles is he's at a different stage in life.
King Charles, thank you, Carol.
You're so right.
Sweet dear King.
It's ridiculous. And I like him so much now as well. I think he's doing a great job. Anyway, King Charles is at a different stage in his life. He's older. He's been sick. Mm-hmm. He's had a bit of a life scare. He doesn't want to end his life not speaking to one of his sons, and so he's bending over backwards to make that happen. Now, when I say bending over backwards, he's allowing Harry and Meghan to stay. I think it's in Buckingham Palace, actually. Maybe. I heard it was going to be that, and their security is going to be taken care of there. Yeah. I think he shouldn't be doing it. I think it's totally the wrong thing to do. And apparently so does Wills. Wills is saying this just sends out the wrong message, that, you can trash us, you can call us worse than you know what, and then you get forgiven after a couple of years. But, I think, and Meghan is coming with the kids. Archie is 7 now, Lilibet is 5. And so the royal family have never really met these kids. But they're not going to either, because Camilla is not going to be around when they arrive. Don't blame her, because Harry slagged her off big time. And you can bet your bottom dollar Wills and Kate will not meet him. Wills has already said that he's upset about the way his dad is bending over backwards to accommodate him. He doesn't think he should. But he has said absolutely he won't meet him. The rumours are that Harry has been trying to contact Wills, but Wills will not take his calls. And I absolutely don't blame him. And you think about the motives for this visit now. I know he's coming for the Invictus Games. I know that. That's not why Meghan and the kids are coming. They're coming because their star is in the descendant in the States. They're a laughing stock now. The big money contracts have all gone. People have realised they're a pair of grifters. They don't have any respect anymore. They're not on the A-list now of invites. So Meghan and Harry are realising that, to earn money and to monetise themselves, and that's all they've got to monetise, because neither of them have any real talent to do anything. So they have to monetise their position. And so they're realising that probably the only place they think they can do that is in the UK. And this has been in the planning for quite a long time now.
You think so?
Yes. Harry has been making little visits here, trying to get to see his dad, and he sees him for the odd cup of tea, the odd cup of coffee. But the bottom line is here for most of the royal family, they will never trust him again. So if he was in a room with them all, they would not be able to speak freely, because they know now he will go straight back to the US and go on CNN and blab it all. And we know he'll do that because he's done it. On the rare occasions he's been here and had, albeit small, contact with his dad, he's gone back to the States and talked about it. When he's coming here, we all suddenly find out about it. How? Because he briefs people here. He briefs his people here. So they're coming for totally self-interested reasons. They're not coming to make it up with Charles. They're not coming to try and build bridges with the family, because most of the family are going to say, stuff you, we don't want to talk to you. So they're coming here because they have to monetize themselves, and because to stay in the house in Montecito with its God knows how many bathrooms, 14 bathrooms, I think, they have to make a shed load of money, and they're not going to make it in the States anymore.
Well, as you said, the Oprah Winfrey interview and the book Spare, those are the two lines that apparently William, I have to say William, I can't say Wills because the comments are going to go mental at me if I call him.
Right?
They don't like me calling William Wills. They hate it. I also can't call Catherine Kate. They also don't. Yeah, we've got some loyal monarchists.
Maybe it's just you that don't know. Anyway.
It's those two things that Wills. Whoa.
There you go.
Oh, here we go again.
Come on, people, complain.
Dead meat. Those are the two issues that William feels crossed the line.
Of course.
Yeah.
There were in the book, there were very private things about William, about the arguments they'd had, about what had happened to them as boys. Wills is very angry about the way Kate has been portrayed by Meghan, both in documentaries and in the book, because Kate had no right of reply, so Meghan could say whatever the hell she liked about how Kate made her cry, about how this happened. So, and Meghan has her own truth. That's what they always talk about their own truth, which doesn't necessarily mean the truth, but it's their own version of events. And so, of course, Meghan is always going to come out the heroine in that version. And Wills will never forgive him for allowing that to happen. They dissed his wife in the most hideous way. A wife who has done more for the royal family than Harry ever had, and more than Meghan ever will. She has a sense of duty in the way those two don't. She respects the monarchy in a way those two don't. And I think he has every right to be angry. I would never forgive Harry for this. I would find it. I know everyone says, oh, it's family, you have to forgive. Well, no, you don't actually have to forgive. When your family has behaved hideously and called you racists on the global stage and trashed the institution that you have devoted your life to, when you have upset our Queen Elizabeth, when you have upset the King's wife Camilla, no. Forgiveness doesn't just come that easy. It really doesn't.
Well, if you're enjoying this episode, let me ask you, please like, share, subscribe and hit the hype button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, give us a 5-star review. Go on, you want to. Carol, back to this idea about forgiveness. If someone, I don't know, commits a murder and goes to jail, they serve their time, they come out, they're allowed a second chance. Harry and Meghan haven't done anything nearly as heinous. They've said some hurty words, and as we're always told, hurty words shouldn't be a problem.
It's a bit more than hurty words. The royal family have spent years building up a reputation worldwide. It was respected worldwide. It wasn't questioned worldwide. And suddenly these two go on air and start saying hideous things and telling their version of the truth. Again, I say their version. And people now start looking at the royal family in a different way. So all the hard work of generations of royals, and it's not just hard work for them, they're working for Britain. They're working to give this tiny little island of ours a big place on the world stage. And they absolutely did that. And for these two who have achieved nothing, to trash it in the way that they have, and then expect, and it wasn't just a momentary thing. They did this over a period of 5 years. They didn't stop trashing them for 5 years. They made money from every TV interview they did, every story they broke, every story they leaked. Yeah. Harry used his childhood and his growing up and his relationships with all of his family, and he sold them to people, and he sold them to the highest bidder. And that, in my book, is the most hideous thing you can do, to betray your family in that way. And the Queen, anyone who disses her deserves never to be forgiven. The Queen was, an icon to us all. You might not be a royalist, but you cannot deny that woman's dedication, her dedication to duty, her love of this country, what she has done for this country. Britain really should be nothing on the world stage because we're this tiny little island. We're not big. We shouldn't have that much clout. But the royal family gives us clout. We do things. The royal family, the monarchy, does things in a way that I don't think any other royal family around the world does. There was poor little Trump there, on the state visit, where he was trying his best to emulate us, but you can't. You just can't emulate,
British class. Yes,
and decades, centuries of history. You can't. And the royal family make us a lot of money in terms of tourism. They raise billions every year for this country. So for Harry to try and trash all of that and question the institution of the monarchy itself, all because the monarchy said to Meghan, we're not changing for you. You're going to have to fall in line with our rules. And in fact, I think they did more to change for Meghan and to accommodate Meghan than they had for any other person who joined the royal family by marriage. I think they bent over backwards for her. But I think she thought she could come in, become the star of the whole gig, do exactly what she wanted, follow her own path. No, you can't do that. It's the monarchy. It's an institution that you're a tiny speck part of.
So we should never forgive Harry and Meghan. King Charles and William should never forgive him. Never forgive him.
The thing is, remember they called the entire British nation racist as well. They didn't just call the royal family racist. They condemned the rest of us as racist as well.
And as did 81 of our MPs at the time. They also wrote a letter saying that the British press had been racist and misogynistic towards Meghan.
Simply not true. The British press, when I remember seeing her for the first time when she properly for the first time when she did the interview when they just got engaged, and I remember thinking, oh my God, this is so good. This is like the family have welcomed her. This is going to open the whole thing out. It's going to be amazing. And for the first year, the press were nothing but kind to her. They fawned over her. But when you start getting stories, and we didn't make these stories up, when stories started emerging about bullying, about how she treated people in the palace, about how she abused her position, about how she was demanding things of the Queen, like she wanted to wear certain tiaras. Who the hell is she to demand that she gets to wear this tiara, that tiara? Who does she think she is? So we took against that. And we don't like bullies.
Well, okay, but Harry wants forgiveness. He's made lots of attempts to call William. William's ignoring him. You don't think people should be given a second chance?
You think it's a pity that he hadn't asked for forgiveness shortly after the book Spare was published, but he didn't want to do that because he'd been paid a lot of money for Spare. He was being paid money for other serialisation rights. It was still being sold around the world. He's only wants forgiveness now because he's a busted flush in America, and so is she. And they want to come back here because they still think there's some mileage in their position. This is a couple, if you remember, that they wanted to make their own way in the world. They didn't necessarily wanted to have the royal titles, but by God, they'd kick up a fuss if someone tried to. I wish Charles had taken those titles away from them. See how they would have managed on their own. Everything they have done, all the money they have made, is because of their titles. It's not because they're charming, wonderful, lovely, talented people, because they're not.
Well, Harry's quite charming.
He's not charming at all. He's a truculent, petulant, spoiled child who, when he doesn't get his own way, kicks out and hurts people. And that's exactly what he did with his family.
Well, something that the critics are saying about Meghan, and there's many critics of Meghan,
yes,
they're saying that she really wants to get a photograph of King Charles.
Yes, of course she
with
does.
The grandkids.
And why does she want that?
Because it'd be a lovely moment for the grandfather to see his grandkids.
Oh, and let's sell this everywhere. This will make a whole load of new magazine interviews. This will be another documentary. This will be we're making up the royal family. They'll just make it all up. And this is why a lot of the royals don't want him back, because when you've been out of the institution for a long time, which they have, 7 years now, I think. When you've been out of it for that long, it's very hard to put you back in the institutional cage to follow the rules, to do what you're told. They will never do what they're told. And that's why a lot of the other royals don't want them back in, because they're always going to be loose cannons. They're always going to speak out and say the wrong thing. They're always going to bring a spotlight to the royals that they don't want. And, we're living in a period now where lots of people are questioning whether we should have a royal family, whether we should have a monarchy, whether they're worth the money.
I think it's fair to question that.
I think it's fair to question that. It is fair to question that. But if those two come in and start messing it up, a lot of people will have more reason to say we shouldn't have a royal family.
I think we're okay to have a royal family, but stuff like having all these palaces, all these homes, do they need all of those different spaces? I don't think they do. The most lucrative palace in the world is the Palace of Versailles. There's no royals living there, but that makes billions in tourists every day. People can walk around it and walk around the grounds.
But the royals bring in billions in tourism anyway.
But we don't, what I'm saying is, if France is the example of them doing it without having
should they go
royals,
live in a council house in Reading then?
What an extreme! What a bloody extreme!
Yeah, that's They make money. They get money from the state. They work, and don't say they don't work hard, because they work bloody hard. Even when the Queen, in the year she died, she did, hundreds of engagements. Princess Anne, still at the age of 70-something.
Princess Anne's fantastic.
Does 350 or something engagements a year.
Yeah.
They're always on there. They're always doing something,
Well, listen, the royal family on a county estate in Reading, that would be must-watch TV.
But it really made me cross the other day. You've got James O'Brien from LBC saying, belly aching about the fact that young George is going to Eton. Hello, he went to a private school. His father, who was a journalist, paid for him to go to a private school. He's got his 2 daughters going to a private school. And yet, the future king of England can't go to a private school because James O'Brien says he shouldn't. And people like Zara Sultana, who also went to a private school, says he shouldn't. So it's okay for them to do it, but it's not okay for the royal family to do it. It's just such a stupid, twisted, bitter logic.
God. Well,
yeah,
James,
I'm angry now. You've got me really angry.
I got you riled up.
I am riled now.
Well,
I am.
James O'Brien, we'd love to hear your reply to this. You're definitely going to see it. I know you watch the show, so I look forward to your response. Everything is digital now, isn't it? Your money, your photos, even your loyalty card at the coffee shop. So there's something quietly brilliant about owning one thing that isn't on a screen. Real gold bullion. The weight of it, the shine, it's just a lovely thing to hold. The Pure Gold Company, which was voted the UK's best gold broker, makes owning physical gold really simple. Tax-free gold coins from the Royal Mint with friendly one-to-one guidance from your first question to final delivery. There's no jargon, no pressure, no call centre queues. It's insured to your door or stored in a secure professional vault. So visit the Pure Gold Company today and tell them JJ sent you. Let's move on to Keir Starmer and what is likely to be our next Prime Minister, Andy Burnham.
Yes.
Andy Burnham. He's just an ordinary guy. He's just a normal man.
No, he's not an ordinary guy. He's a dullard. He's an incompetent. I'm old enough to remember the last time Andy Burnham was a minister in government. He was lackluster then. He has never understood policy detail. He's very good talking about his beloved Everton, and he's very good about talking about music and all the bands. But get him on the economy. He's economically illiterate. I don't understand. This guy has been out of mainstream politics for nearly a decade. He's been faffing around in local politics in Manchester. And the fact he has got this title, King of the North, is a joke. Because if anyone looks at his record in Manchester, he did a bit of good for the buses. Yeah, fine, lovely. But he managed to not see that the cops in Manchester weren't recording crimes. They were actually put into special measures, Greater Manchester Police, on his watch. His record with the Rotherham, Rochdale and Oldham child abuse is appalling. Commissioned reviews, but did nothing about it. Yeah. There's a thing called, it was called Operation Augusta, where they identified 50-odd young people who had been badly sexually abused in Manchester, 96 potential suspects.
One of those girls died as well.
Yes. Some of them were as young as 12. Very few of the suspected people were ever located or prosecuted. All that was on Andy Burnham's watch when he was mayor of Manchester. So don't tell me he was a good mayor. But most importantly, a lot of people now will never have heard of Andy Burnham. A lot of people in this country, younger people, don't know who the hell he is. Yeah. They don't know what he thinks. They don't know what he believes in. And I know what he believes in, and it's absolutely nothing. He's like Keir Starmer, Mark II. He changed one of the criticisms of him as a minister last time round in 2011 and 2015 was he changed his views all the time. His views changed with the weather. It was whatever was going to make him the most popular. And here you have this guy who when he was minister last time around, cocked up big style. Do you remember when he was Minister for Health? Yeah. The Mid-Staffs Hospital crisis happened. 1,200 people died needlessly in those hospitals. He didn't want to investigate it. There were something like 60 complaints by terrified families to the Department of Health. He did sod all about it. He commissioned a review eventually, but only after much pressure. This guy is not a leader. If Keir Starmer is the man who didn't have a plan, Andy Burnham is the man who doesn't have a clue. Yeah. How can you have a guy who has been a local mayor, who has not been tried and tested in Westminster, who half the country don't know about, how can he just be anointed Prime Minister? They're calling him the Messiah. I mean, it is a joke, and mark my words already today, that he's talking about abandoning the triple lock. Does this party never learn? The biggest blow to their credibility when they got elected 2 years ago was when they banned the winter fuel allowance. Now, that was for 300 quid. There are pensioners who will never again vote for Labour because of that. Just imagine what is going to happen if this socialist government actually takes money away from the most vulnerable people in our society. Pensioners.
Well, they should just downsize the pensioners.
No, they should not downsize.
They've all got massive houses.
Yes.
They should just sell
they all have massive. What a stupid!
To a bungalow.
What a stupid generalisation!
Let us buy houses.
What a stupid generalisation! 2 million people, pensioners, live on nothing but the state pension. Now, the state pension. What is this? Do you know what the state pension is?
80 quid a month.
You don't even know. So the state pension is about 12 grand. 12.2 grand. You try living on that. You try living on that when food inflation was rocketing, when energy inflation is rocketing. And the whole point of the triple lock was it was brought in 2011 because tens of thousands of pensioners were living in abject poverty because of it. And it was brought to equalise people, to give pensioners the same standard of living that the rest of us have. And that is only fair. And it's not a pension isn't a perk. Pensioners have worked all their lives to get a pension. If you want to have a go at some people in terms of benefits, people say it's the biggest drain on benefits. No, it isn't. Have a look at our bloated benefits bill, where we're paying millions of young people, 1 million young people out of work not looking for it. They get paid benefits. The tens of thousands of young people who are getting paid money for being a little bit depressed. The millions of people who are being paid PIP and all the rest of it without being properly assessed.
If you'd say, Carol,
have a go at them.
Carol, you are still working. You're technically classed as a pensioner, but you're still working. But you've been able to buy your 15 houses because you got them in the 60s when houses were cheap as chips. I want to be able to have my guacamole on toast and my matcha and still be able to get a house.
Of course you
and
do.
I can't get that because you've got 15 of them and you just go from each house to each house. So and I'm on the streets knocking on your door saying, I want to buy this 5-bedroom bungalow and I can't because you've got so many of them.
You just got to be careful because I'm going to jump up and batter you in a minute. When I was a kid, I bought my house when I was 26. Yes, borrowing money was cheaper. But let me tell you, I didn't pay £3.50 for a coffee. I didn't go on 3 holidays a year. I didn't actually eat out every night. I didn't go to clubs because I saved up. Oh, I did that old-fashioned thing called saving. And I did without to get my first little house. And today, kids can buy houses if they actually employed something called sacrifice. They don't even know what it means. They think they should be able to do all of the stuff they do without making a little bit of a sacrifice. So, and the fact that some of us might live in houses that are worth a lot of money. So what should we do? So we've worked all our lives, so we should sell up and go and live in a box. Because someone like you
move to
says,
Reading,
I deserve a house.
Yeah, that's right. I deserve a house.
No one deserves a house.
I've earned my house.
No, you haven't. You clearly haven't, or you'd have one. That's the point. If you worked a little bit harder, you would have a house. I do at least 3 jobs, 4 jobs at my age, 71.
Well, that's why I can't get any employment because you've got all the jobs as well.
Yeah. Maybe because I chased them and got them. That's why I've got the jobs. So I'm not having this crap, and sorry, excuse my language, about young people are entitled to a house. No, they're not. No one's entitled to a house. And I know lots of young people who have saved and sacrificed and got the house. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you're on the ladder, woof, you're away. You can do it, and they can do it. So no, sorry.
Well, let's move on to the weather, Cal.
Right,
for those of you watching from abroad,
I feel like I need to sleep now.
It is scorching here in the UK, nearly 40 degrees Celsius.
It's not nearly 40 degrees Celsius.
It is nearly 40 degrees.
It is not. It's not even reached 30.
The weatherman over here.
No, it's not even 34.
It is.
This hysteria every time the weather gets to 28, 29. We've got to stop this. We are a joke. This country is a joke now. I checked right back to 1911 this week to see what the temperatures were.
You opened your diary, went back. Yeah. 1911. I remember this day well.
So you're the one who's going to get trolled online because of the ageism jokes, not me. So In 1911, regular temperatures of 37 degrees. It hasn't changed all that much. And this will not last for more than 3 days. And it's not going to hit 40, I can almost guarantee it. However, the whole country comes to a standstill. 750 schools closing.
Yeah.
We're being told, red alert, red warning, don't travel if necessary. That's absolute tosh. The only people who shouldn't be working outside in 38 degrees are labourers.
Yeah.
It's too hot for them. Yes, I get that's too hot. But if you work in an office and you're going from your home to a nice air-conditioned office, get your backside onto the tube and get to the office. This is just nonsense to say that industry should close. I read a piece today that said, warnings that our food deliveries could be affected, that energy supplies could be affected. So all of why? It's a hot summer's day. People on the continent manage perfectly well. People in Africa manage perfectly well. But here, they're closing schools.
Well, actually, Daniel Dove, the Birdman, who is like one of our exec producers, he couldn't get a train today from the coast coming to London.
Appalling.
Because, but here's the thing, I checked it. The train's working fine. He's just a liar and he's going to get fired. Yeah. Work shy.
But you see, a lot of these people, and I don't count him among them, however, a lot of these people who are taking days off work, what they're going to do, they're going to get home, get the shorts on, get the vest on, go to the park, and swelter in 34 degrees. So if you can lie in the park and you can go to work.
I'd much rather be in the office where I've got air conditioning than be
Me
at
too.
home.
Me absolutely. But it's the attitude, isn't it? We have no resilience as a nation anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know, we didn't win 2 world wars
And one World Cup.
without sweating a bit. Do you know what I mean? All that's what we're talking about. Yes, I know in France, you're going to quote people have died in France. Yes, I know it was 44 degrees there yesterday. That's pretty extreme. That's quite extreme. Whereas 34 is not extreme. It just means that, it's a bit hot in the day and you have a bit of bother getting to sleep at night time.
Yeah, fair. Final question. Do you think England are going to win the World Cup?
Absolutely, I don't know. If they couldn't win
That's
against...
what I like to hear, Carol.
If they
Love
couldn't
this
win
country.
against What Naughty last night, who was it?
What Naughty?
Who was
Ghana.
it? Ghana, right? Ghana, who don't have a great reputation on the world stage. If you're not beating Ghana, you're not really going anywhere, are you? Not really.
I believe in you boys.
I believe,
do it for me. Do it for Carol.
Well, I want them to believe in themselves. I think if they believed in themselves a bit more, they might. But, isn't it interesting how every tournament the women footballers play, they
Gosh,
win.
here we go.
They
Women's
win.
football.
Well, it's not a here we go. It's
Nobody
an
watches.
It's an absolute fact.
Nobody watches it.
That's absolute tosh.
It's like watching League Two football.
No, it really is not.
No, yeah, you're right. League Two is much better than
Well,
women's
what do you
football.
think that England game was like watching last night?
Yeah, it was boring, but it's still...
It was boring.
The women would not have beaten Ghana yesterday.
I'm sorry.
They'd have
You
lost
talk about
50-0.
boring stuff. England could not be more boring currently.
Oy.
Have they won anything?
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
Me and you are going to have to have a fisticuff
I'll
afterwards.
hit with some football thoughts that will embarrass you.
Carol, a pleasure as always. Glad to have you back.
Cheers.
Thank you for watching the Daily Espresso. Please leave your comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that hype button. Bye-bye. Right, a quick pause in the podcast to tell you about our sponsor, Incogni. You had those phone calls from numbers you don't recognise, or you go in your inbox and there's emails for stuff you did not sign up for. Well, that's because someone somewhere is selling your private information. That's where today's sponsor comes in. Incogni. They will contact these people who have been taking your information and they'll say, oi, stop, delete it. Go to the website, incogni.com. You type in the details. 2 minutes later, Incogni are sorting it out for you automatically. And because I love you, I've got you a discount. It ain't 10%, it ain't 20, 60% off. 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Just go to incogni.com/Daily Espresso or click the link in the episode description box below.